didn't understand that little laugh people had when he made a comment there. No, I know how I am. Anthony wanted me to talk a little bit about me, and I know a lot about me, and I'm going to try to keep it brief, but I do have a few things I do want to say for the ones who don't know me. You know, me and Anthony Shelton have, primarily worked in the southern region, and I've been able to get around to some other regions, some conferences that had them during the pandemic, some have not. There's some place I haven't been yet, like my brothers in Canada. I can't wait to get up there and visit with you guys. I'm looking forward to it as soon as possible, to get up there and spend some time with you guys and get to know you, and you get to know me. About me, my wife Laura and I have been married for 33 years. There is no way I could do what I do if not for her patience and understanding. Most of the time, she had to raise our kids and work full-time at a local hospital. She worked full-time up until a month ago and just retired after 32 years. She's a great mother. Thank you. She's a great mother and to our children and my best friend. Laura, please stand. Right there. Thank you. I have two children. Stephen, 28, which he just had to leave. He had to get back to work. Lives in New York. He's an advertising major from University of Tennessee. Lives up there. That's where all the advertising is New York. And he had to get back to work. He understands work as well. My daughter, Sarah, was really wanting to come out here, but she's finishing grad school. She's going to be an occupational therapist. And she actually graduates a week from this Saturday. And she's finishing up her schooling. I'm very proud of both of them. Wish they could have been here today. This next part's getting a little emotional for me. I'm sorry. I was also raised in a unionist family household like President Shelton. My father, Harold Woods, and Anthony's father, Walter Shelton, were friends and worked together on labor issues for many years. Through the Knoxville Oak Ridge Area Central Labor Council, where my father was president of the council, and Walter represented Local 25 workers working at Interstate Brands in Knoxville, Tennessee. I knew Walter Shelton long before I knew Anthony, way back when I was a teenager. When I used to go to all the labor council meetings, Walter was a tall man, strong man. He'd come up behind you and pick you up by one hand, you know. The apple don't fall far from the tree, though. I know Walter Shelton would be extremely proud of Anthony and his accomplishments, as I know I am. Sorry. The last labor action my father went on, I told my father I was going to Handbill Kellogg's, Jackson, Tennessee, non-union plant, was creating some attention at the plant. Well, I skipped a whole section here. Let me start back over there, guys. I got to tell a bit more about my dad. Got a little emotional, missed a part. Because this is where I came from. I want you to know a little bit about me and my history, why I am the way I am. My father, as I said, was a Knoxville Area Central Labor Council president for 26 years. At the same time, he was a full-time maintenance mechanic working at Alcoa Aluminum Company plant in Alcoa, Tennessee. He worked a swing shift his whole career. If you don't know what a swing shift is, it's rotating from days, evenings, nights, and kept going. And kept more like a southern swing than it was swing. Most of us know what that is. That's tough schedules. He was also a member of Steelworkers Local 309. He was also his department chief steward. He worked there for 36 years. As he retired from Alcoa, he served a term as Tennessee State AFL-CIO president. He was labor council president and worked at Alcoa full-time. I didn't get to see him a lot growing up, but when I did, I knew what he was doing. He was doing what he loved, helping people. He was a great father, labor leader, community activist, serving at least a dozen charity executive boards, such as United Way and Community Action Committee, CAC, and for many other agencies. He believed in volunteerism, helping others. My father taught me hard work, how to work hard, told me that almost every problem can be solved, taught me that that we should always speak up for those who cannot speak up for themselves, and give all you have to what you believe in. Now to the last action my father went on. Thank you. Last action my father went on, I told my father I was going to handbill Kellogg, Jackson, Tennessee, non-union plant, was creating some attention at that point to support the locked out workers in Memphis, Tennessee in 2013. My father at that time had stage 4 cancer and was battling chemo. He said he wanted to go. I said, there's no way I'm stopping you. I knew he wasn't feeling good, but he battled through the discomfort and pain and walked every day and all day at the entrances of that plant, leafleting workers. He almost whipped a security guard that day when they tried to stop us. I wasn't going to stand in his way. There was fighting my father and for workers' rights, and fought for those rights every day until he died. Yeah. My father was my hero in every way possible. He was a kind yet tough and what I wanted to be. My mother brought me my father's green beret. He was before he went to work at Alcoa, he was in the military, he was in the Army, Special Forces. He was a green beret. Everybody know what that is? It's hard to talk about him. I miss him so much. My mother was supportive of my father in everything he did. She would work on things while Dad was at work, make sure he had information needed to do his union work and represent charity activities while raising my brother and I. However, after we got older, my mother went to work for the Knoxville Oak Ridge Central Labor Council as a secretary and became an OPEIU Local 144 member in 1980 when she went to work for the council. She became her local union president in the early 90s and still holds that position today at 80 years young. Even though she is retired from being a secretary, Mom has always been an activist, volunteering to help organizations that need help. She still volunteers to do taxes for poor through Community Action Committee every year. She represents her union membership, negotiating contracts and solving problems, always trying to help others. Mom, will you please stand? She's back in the room. Thank you for that. I do have an older brother. He's a 30-plus year member of IBEW, Local 760, and a journeyman electrician. I was raised, thank you. Now, about me. Look what I have to live up to, right? I was raised a union man. Like Anthony, I went to picket lines, labor disputes, hand-billing since I was a little kid. My parents dragged me around to union meetings, council meetings, state conventions, national conventions. I know what labor's about. I've heard it every day in my life. Could you imagine the conversations and debate around the dinner table or on holidays when we get together? We all have our opinions. That's one thing in my household, and anybody that knows anybody in my family, we speak what we want to speak, and we say what we want to say, and we'll argue and debate it but we love each other. For me, I got my start at a flour mill in Knoxville, Tennessee, White Lily Flour, at 22 years old. I worked there as a maintenance mechanic. Sound familiar? Became an American Federation of Grain Miller, Local 165, in August of 1989. The then local president, Thurman Kennebrew, went to bat to help me get hired at the plant. All the employers in Knoxville knew my parents and were concerned that I would start a problem if I came to work at their plant. It's hard to get hired. After successfully got hired, he wanted me to be a shop steward. I'm only 22 years old. But they all knew my parents. He hoped I would be a labor leader like my father. I didn't know at the time that he was looking for a successor. I took the shop steward position 60 days after I finished my probation. And at the end of that year, under local officer elections, Thurman Kennebrew, the president of the local, said he needed a break. He'd been local president for 22 years, and if I'd take it, because we ran every year for office, if I'd take it for 1 year, he would rotate with me every other year. I owed him for getting me the job, one of the best jobs I've ever had, a union job, with good benefits and pay. I told him I'd do it. So I ran for president, hadn't been there even 6 months yet, and I won. Nobody else ran against me, so they gave it to me because everybody supported it. They thought I was there again, going to be my parents. I had a lot to live up to. And it ain't just local presidents, it's also the president, because it's a single shop. We work in the plant as president, but you're also the chief steward, and you work full-time in the plant. It's a lot of work. I held that position until the merger with Local 25 in January 2004, which I'm going to go into why that happened. But my plant had a new owner in 2000, going back to that time. When they bought the plant, they told us when they were going to shut us down and take the product to another one of their facilities and then sell off the rest. All they wanted was the food service brands. In 2003, 3 years after they bought us, the company went to negotiations demanding the elimination of pension, eliminate our weekend premium pay, change our schedules, and more. Sound familiar? I know the Kellogg's, the Bisco folks know what I'm talking about. And that was back in 2003. When the negotiations failed to get an agreement, the company locked us out. I want to tell you the difference between a lockout and a strike if you don't know. A strike is when the workers said, enough's enough, we're going to walk out. A lockout is when the company throws you out. And you're on the same picket line in the same conditions. Either way, you're on the street, not knowing if you're going to be able to get back in that plant. As a local president and an employee in the plant, I can relate to the anxiety and the stress of what it's like to be on strike or lockout. Feel the stress of family members, no paycheck, no insurance, no guarantees when you're going to go back to work. I had 2 small children at that time and a wife. My members fought, and at the end of the day, we won. We won. It was a 13-week lockout, and the company got nothing. We gave up nothing, nothing. President Shelton, yeah. President Shelton was my international rep during that lockout negotiations. Like I told you earlier, I knew his father long before I knew him. This was really the real first chance I got to work with with Anthony Shelton when he was a rep. We worked together very well. And like I said, we won. Couldn't have done it without his leadership. After the lockout, my local wanted to thank the international president, Frank Hurt, for his all-in approach to help a single shop win a local major labor dispute. All the AFL-CIO Central Labor Councils, local unions across the country, especially Local 25. They provided daily support on the picket line every day. Like I said, they had interstate brands. They brought bread and cake and people and ice and drinks every day of that lockout for our members. In 2004, due to the solidarity shown by Local 25, my local merged with Local 25. It was shown we are stronger together, and merging was the ultimate appreciation from my local 165G membership. In April 2000, and that was in January of 2004. In April 2004, due to retirement of Local 25 Officer Donnie Hicks, I was recommended by the Financial Secretary, B.A. Tommy Kelly, which he's sitting in the room today, to be the assistant, a full-time local assistant business agent. Now, I thought when we merged, I would just be on the GEB. I wouldn't have to be president and chief steward anymore. Well, I was asked for help. They wanted help. They wanted me. Thank you, Tommy, for doing that. And I accepted. Didn't know what I was getting into. But now I'm working for a local that is not just a single shop. It covers from Nashville, Tennessee, Murfreesboro, Chattanooga, Rome, Georgia, Knoxville, Cookeville, Johnson City, Murphy, North Carolina. Covered a big area, a lot of shops, a lot of members, new challenges. In 2007, due to retirement of Tommy Kelly, even though I say he's in the room today, he came back out of retirement after a while, and we appreciate that too, Tommy. I was recommended and approved by Local 25 Executive Board to become the full-time principal officer, financial secretary, and business agent of Local 25 in 2007. And I held that position, and I want to thank Jeff Webb. I know he's here somewhere. I can't see him. Raise your hand, Jeff. He was my assistant when I was the principal officer. Of course, he took it over when I'm about to leave here in just a few minutes in 2012. And he's done a great job, and I do appreciate you, Jeff, your support. In 2012, I was offered a position with the international president. International President Frank Hurt offered me the position to go to be an international rep. I didn't seek it out, but I gladly accepted. I was told in the labor movement, if you ever get offered something or a challenge or a position, if you turn it down, you never get offered twice. So I took the position, even before I told my wife. Now I'm going to be on the road a lot more. Not just from a large local, but I'm going to be all over the southern region or wherever else the president wants me to go. I love that job. And in 2019, due to retirements and advancements in the positions, I was recommended by the international president, David Durkee, and approved by the General Executive Board to the position of Southern Region Vice President. In 2020, due to the passing of President Durkee, I was recommended by the now President Shelton and approved by the International General Executive Board to the position I'm in today. I love this union. I love being able to do what I do. And I will fight to strengthen and defend this union and my union brothers and sisters until my last breath. Yeah.